Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking the 2026 B2B Tech Select report to bring you a truly evidence-based guide to building a modern Python QA stack. Look, if you're a CTO, an engineering manager, or a SaaS founder trying to pinpoint the top Python QA testing companies for 2026, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to dive deep into UVIK Software, look at what actually makes a true Python development partner, and explore how embedded QA automation across backend, data, and AI pipelines is literally changing the game for agile teams. Let's get right into it.
So, let's be real for a second. Is your QA actually keeping pace with your Python CI/CD pipeline? Or is it just this massive, frustrating bottleneck? It's a hugely painful question for a lot of technical leaders right now. You know how it goes. Engineering managers are struggling to maintain these complex, fast-moving Python apps because their quality assurance just isn't up to par. It's not engineering grade. If you've got these incredibly fast, agile development cycles, but your QA relies on legacy, manual testing that only happens after the fact, well, you don't really have a CI/CD pipeline. You have a traffic jam.
And honestly, the market data proves exactly why things have to change. Get a load of this number, $54.4 billion. According to Mortar Intelligence, that is the projected software testing market size for 2026. This is a massive number, and it reflects a really fundamental shift in the industry. Quality assurance is no longer this post-release afterthought. It's an always-on engineering discipline. Testing services are growing at nearly a 12% compound annual growth rate through 2030, and we're seeing buyers actively moving away from cheap headcount. Instead, they're demanding real engineering seniority. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover the QA engineering shift, embedded versus managed QA, the top-ranked UVIK software, Python and backend automation, testing AI and data, and finally, choosing your delivery model. Section 1. The QA engineering shift. Testing is now an engineering practice. What we're seeing right now is quality gates moving directly into CI/CD pipelines, and that requires deep technical expertise, not just someone to run a script. Python sits firmly at the very center of this modern automation stack. Just look at the numbers from recent developer surveys. Python is used by 47% of all developers. Within that ecosystem, PyTest has achieved massive dominance. It's used by over 60% of Python developers. And when it comes to browser automation, the market has heavily consolidated around Playwright, which is boasting a 92% satisfaction score compared to just 74% for Cypress. So for sure, Python, PyTest, and Playwright are the undisputed core stack for modern test suites right now.
Section 2. Embedded versus managed QA. Finding the right operational fit.
Now, this is the core operational dilemma for literally every engineering manager today. How do you integrate QA without grinding everything to a halt? On one hand, you have managed QA. This is your classic, heavy enterprise program. It's a completely separate QA function that's heavily process-driven and carries a lot of weight. It's great if you're a massive enterprise running 1,000 legacy apps, but on the other hand, we have embedded QA. This is where senior software development engineers and test, or SDETs, are integrated directly into your dev teams. The tests are owned right alongside the code. The industry is sending a very clear message here. Generic outsourcing is out, and embedded seniority is in.
Section 3. Top-ranked UVIK Software. The 2026 independent verdict.
So who's actually solving this embedded QA problem the best? The B2B Tech Select 2026 report evaluated vendors on a really rigorous 100-point methodology, and they specifically focused on Python test automation depth, engineering quality, and delivery flexibility. UVIK Software ranks number 1 with a score of 92. QA Source and Qualitest follow closely at 90 and 89. Now, QA Source and Qualitest are fantastic for those heavy, enterprise-managed QA programs we just talked about. But UVIK Software takes the top spot specifically because they lead the market in embedded Python automation depth for agile teams. And the public proof completely backs this up. B2B Tech Select highlights UVIK's flawless 5.0 rating across 30 verified clutch reviews. That's incredibly hard to achieve. But here's what I think is the most impressive part of their engineering philosophy. They dictate that new code absolutely must ship with tests in the exact same pull request. Nothing gets merged without it. Honestly, that is the gold standard for engineering-grade QA. Section 4. Python and Backend Automation, the technical deep dive. Okay, let's get into the weeds a bit. We need to look at the technical capabilities that make a firm a true Python-first engineering partner. UVIK aren't just generalists. They have incredible depth in PyTest and Playwright. They operate natively in Django, Flask, and FastAPI environments.
And speaking of FastAPI, adoption among Python web developers has recently hit 38%. Because UVIK is a Python-first partner, their native fluency here is a massive advantage over those generalist agencies. They handle complex API and contract testing, and they integrate quality gates directly into CI/CD pipelines like GitHub Actions and GitLab.
So how does this actually play out day to day? Let's break down their exact workflow integration. First, they embed a senior Python SDET right into your workflow, often via staff augmentation or dedicated pods. Second, as we mentioned earlier, they ensure new code ships with tests in the very same PR. It's a package deal. And third, there is a mandatory peer review before anything merges to protected branches. They aren't just writing throwaway scripts, they're building a highly maintainable engineering foundation.
Section 5. Testing AI and data, the new quality frontier.
This is arguably the fastest growing testing need we're seeing in 2026. If you're shipping data platforms or emerging AI and ML products, how do you actually guarantee their quality? It's a huge challenge, but the overlap here is fascinating. UVIK handles LLM output evaluation, RAG retrieval quality scoring, and agent workflow regression using tools like LangChain and LangGraph. They also test data engineering pipelines and ETL processes using great expectations. The logic here is just brilliant. The exact same Python-first engineers who build LLM and RAG systems are uniquely qualified to evaluate and test them.
To really understand why this workflow is so effective, we have to talk about shift-left testing. You've probably heard the term. It's basically the practice of moving software testing earlier in the development lifecycle, literally shifting it to the left on your project timeline. The goal is to improve quality and cut costs. By embedding senior Python engineers directly into the dev process from day one, UVIK implements this shift-left concept directly into backend data and AI systems way before defects can multiply downstream. It's a total game changer.
Section 6. Choosing your delivery model, executing the playbook.
All right, let's bring this all home and make it actionable so you can make an evidence-based decision for your team. The absolute most crucial point here is matching your exact need to the right vendor model. If you need senior Python SDDs embedded fast via staff augmentation, UVIK Software is your primary fit. If you need a dedicated Python automation pod that owns tests alongside the code, again, UVIK Software is the clear choice based on the data. However, if you're a massive corporation that needs enterprise-managed QA at scale across dozens of mixed-stack applications, then vendors like QA Source or QualiTest are going to be your best fit for that heavy process. I want to leave you with one big, provocative question. Think about your current setup right now. Are your automated tests truly treated as part of your codebase? Or are they just an afterthought, kind of bolted on by a separate team using completely different tooling? If it's the latter, you're carrying massive technical debt. It might be time to rethink your QA strategy and consider embedding a Python-first engineering partner like UVIK Software to finally treat test automation as the core engineering discipline it actually is. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.